Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the podcast. Today's subject is why do men and women cheat besides being trash? This episode is brought to you by Architects of Mars, curated by the curious. Get your dope, unique fashions from Architects of Mars. I am Creed of Exodus Studios and aforementioned Architects of Mars, and my co-host is
Coach Tamara Simone, your favorite life coach's favorite life coach. You don't know? Now you know.
baby.
Okay. See,
So
I wasn't gonna do all that,
I
but
mean, you
I,
set it up though. I mean, that was a perfect setup for that. So I'm probably not gonna wear this hat the whole time. I just had to, be
mhm.
in the whole thing since I was talking about it. I'm repping Louisville today for the fam, because that's where our roots come from, partially.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to get some kind of Mississippi college thing next. That would be cool. Actually, it would have been dope when Dion was still down there because that was winning, but we'll see. Um, so today's subject: why do men and women cheat? It's various reasons.
Yes. And so I felt like this is a very good topic to cover, especially since you have someone that is a man as well as someone who is a woman. Neither one of us are angels. We have cheated. I have cheated. Not now. Not no more. I have
She's
changed my life.
saved now. She's saved
Yes,
now. She's saved. Everything's good now.
I'm good now. But at one point in time, dozens of pounds earlier, lighter, shall I say, I was a savage in these streets.
Yeah,
Yes, indeed.
I've had my moments. I feel like I have little stints here and there, and then I have stints where I'm just a monk, and then I have stints that if I'm in a relationship, I'm a perfect gentleman and an angel. So I've lived all the lives, but the
So
re
since you mentioned that, so
mhm.
sorry. I do want to, I like that you brought that up because, you said that there are certain stints where you're a certain way. Was any of that indicative of the person or was that a you thing?
It was always me. I feel like anything with relationships, especially when a person is, the most cliche line is it's not you, it's me. But I mean, it really be true though, because like the only thing you got control over is yourself. So if you are not in the right place, that contributes to being, unfaithful or sometimes being a verbally abusive or physically abusive. All these different things, play a part in that.
And so when you say not in the right place, would you
Mhm.
expound on that if you don't mind?
Um, I think for men it's probably more maturity is the thing. Maturity combined with um probably career being a certain spot, finances being a certain spot. So I think that sometimes when men aren't even in that space, but still, want to dibble and dabble out in the streets, I think a lot of the inconsistencies come from that stuff more so than the person necessarily being trash. But that's a factor too, because people have all that shit going and still be doing a dummy. So it just depends on the person at the end of the day.
Yes, agreed. And so, but I'm glad you brought up, people not being in the right space because, yes, at the end of the day, you could be in the best space and still do. It's a choice, for sure. However, a lot of times, when a person is not where they want to be it mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, whatever the case may be, then they look to kind of cope with that in other people other than the person that they may currently be with. So, so I
Mm,
know, and like when you think about, especially and a lot of women can relate because as a woman, if you with somebody who ain't got it like that financially, or I'll even just go flat out and say broke, especially if you're the one who kind of is pulling in more, then you feel like, why would this nigga cheat? Like I'm putting a roof over this fool head. Like it be situations like that, and a person still
mhm,
cheats. And what a lot of women don't understand is that when a man is put into that position, at least in my experience, it doesn't necessarily give them this mindset of having, a top level of loyalty to you. If anything, a man who feels like he's only, able to really live, survive, or whatever the case may be, is because of his woman, then they kind of resent the woman for
mhm,
being something that they themselves can't be. And then it starts to take on a mother-child relationship. And oftentimes a child would do something bad or mean to spite the mother.
mhm. Yeah,
So that
yeah.
that's yeah.
That's like the norm, I guess, like a common structure for that. I know in a situation that I had, it was more so old stuff bite me on the butt because once I was like locked in and living with a person, all of that, I wasn't even thinking about being, doing
Outside.
anything. I was like, oh, this is it now. We're doing this. Because I think and this is indicative of maturity and also how much you actually are into the person that you with too. So these are two factors. Because I think if you immature, you could be super into the person and still make this mistake. And if you are mature, not being super into the person, it could make you make this mistake. But I think for me, prior to being into that super locked in situation, I was like, well, I'm gonna just have my little last hurrah summer, talk to people, whatever. I wasn't necessarily out there like honing it up, but I just was moving as a bachelor still, entertaining the possibilities or whatever, but nothing really happened. I don't even have time to entertain stuff. A lot of it would be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Oh, you cute, blah blah. And then crickets on my end because now I went back to work. I done forgot, like it literally be that. So for me, it was somebody seeing that type stuff, and then that kind of threw off what we had, obviously, because then the trust was broken. All of this, I take full responsibility, even though it's it wasn't as bad as I have seen others do. It's definitely still betrayal of the trust. So it doesn't even matter what you perceive it to be because it's how you make the other person feel. And that's what I think gets lost a lot of times with all these type of situations. The guys like, well, I didn't do this and I didn't really do that and I didn't really touch her and we were just talking. If it's emotional cheating, that's still cheating. Like all that stuff is still bad.
See, I'm gonna give my 2 cents as well. Anybody who's listened to me even once or twice knows that. But while it feels like I'm interviewing you right now, but I'm going to also, I was going to get into that too. So, what is considered cheating? And I would even go further and say, because it's relative, what
Mhm.
one person considers cheating is not necessarily what the other person considers to be cheating, but isn't that a conversation that should be had
Of course it should. And people could say what they want to say. You know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate because you know what your intent actually is as the person, right? Like we all got our own inner monologues and we know what we have said to ourselves in the situation. Now, you could say whatever the fuck you want to say, you want to, the other person to believe, but what your intent was. Like I can't be 100% mad at what happened in my situation because while nothing maybe had fully become realized, it was intent. That's why there was a reaction to that. And is, it is what it is. Now, the way things ultimately played out and then other information that I had gained over the years kind of makes me see that that just was a toxic situation as a
It just
whole.
wasn't meant. It wasn't meant.
But it's one of those things where whatever my part in it is, I'm gonna take responsibility in it, but it definitely was some goofiness there.
Yes, yes. And so, because I know you, I know that that ain't the only time you cheat.
Oh yeah.
So, no, I know. Yes. So, were there other? You might want to back up a little bit. I can't see nothing. Oh, there you go. But were there other times or not even? I know there were other times. What were other reasons why infidelity occurred
Um,
in other relationships or situations or whatever they were?
to me,
Hmm.
um, the whole, I don't know, like for me, anytime that I ended up cheating, it was some type of shortcoming in the relationship that I was trying to like put a band-aid on
Hmm.
because a lot of that stuff, I mean, to be honest, since I've been, not in my 20s anymore, like I haven't been really like doing that for real, like honestly, because I haven't even really been in like long-term relationships, but a few ever since then. So the few times I have been in a relationship, at worst, it was what I was just saying, just some little light flirtation, bull crap, or whatever. But when I was younger, definitely was out there trying to be Pope pimping.
And so that was what I was leading to, ladies. I don't look for any ladies out there. I don't want you to think that this nigga's just gonna walk around cheating on folks. This was a long time ago, but the instance he just spoke about was a little bit not more recent because that was also over 5 years ago. But I wanted to go back to Creed in his 20s, you know, on that good BS. What was going through his mind as he was outside with
Well,
it?
one of the situations I could think of, the person was so the first person that I could think of that I dated and I cheated on, like it was like blatantly that was someone who I was very physically attracted to, but we couldn't connect on like a more deeper level. But I was infatuated with the physical at the time. And I was like glimmers of the things that I wanted from that person that was deeper. So that's what kind of strung me along for a while. But after a time of continuing trying to navigate that, I just kind of got like, yeah, I'm fed up. But this was the thing though. So as I said, the physical part was great. Like, man, I still walk down the street and get flashbacks to that and be like, "Ooh, Lord." But as far as the personality part, that's where it was kind of lacking. So I cheated on her, but I didn't like physically mess with none of them. I would be talking to them on the phone for hours because I wanted to talk to her. But when it came to something physical, then nothing even happened because I was really wanting to be with her that way. I didn't want it them that way because that wasn't the issue. But that was still cheating though, because I was complaining about her. I'm talking about all type of deep things emotionally, all this stuff. So that was technically cheating for
Mhm.
sure. Not even technically, it was that because I feel like To me, anything that you would feel uncomfortable knowing somebody was doing, then in
It's the
terms of
shoes on the
like,
other foot.
right, then basically it's cheating to me in a nutshell. Cause again, the intent is known. Like people not stupid.
Yes, correct. And so, were there any instances where you did physically cheat?
Yes. Yes. And that was, I think, thinking back, it was again, I don't know. I feel like that was the youth though. I feel like a lot of that was like I just want to experience different things, versus necessarily not want to be with that person or whatever. It was just like I just want to experience that. And now that drive, just because you had, certain experiences, you're not as pressed about, oh, I need to live like I did that. Like been there, done that. It's only so much difference between people in certain ways. So you gotta experience everything. You're gonna pretty much have a rerun because you're gonna be like, oh, this is just like the other person.
So, couple things. So it wasn't that this person, that they weren't giving you the mental stimulation that you desired, or that they weren't physically, up to par, or that they weren't like that the experience between you two physically was lacking. It was just I just wanted to experience something else in that time due to my inexperience and my immaturity.
Basically, because
Okay.
once I got shoot, and that wore off pretty quick. I mean, by the time I was like 29, 30, and I was in a relationship with somebody that I was very serious about, I wasn't even thinking about cheating. I was telling girls that was trying to holler at me that I had a girlfriend and was appalled at them for
I
trying to
I
talk
saw
to
him,
me.
y'all. I saw him, y'all. It was but hell, they wasn't even all around trying to talk to him too tough. They was just flirtatiously saying hi. And he's like, woman, I am attached. Okay. I am not available for your shenanigans. Like, nigga, okay, all right. But I say that to say, especially since I've had a front row seat to a lot of this, is that men are capable of being faithful. Like I know I just like asked him to give me a rundown of all this infidelity, but men are capable of being faithful. Women, don't let these dumbass niggas tell you that they can't do it, or that it's and even if they feel like it's not natural, okay, well, nigga, challenge yourself. Unless you guys are gonna determine that you have that open line of whatever, then but if there's an expectation of fidelity, then the nigga's cheating if he's out there on some other type of time. So, and and what was interesting is that as you were kind of going through, the reasons were different depending on what age you were, what,
Yeah.
state of mind you were in, the person, and what the
Mhm.
relationship, was comprised of. All of those things made the reasoning for you doing what you did. And not all of it was physical, but still the reasoning was different depending on the person and the situation.
Right. Because like the last, relationship I was in, whatever happened during that time of even knowing that person, and if I did anything that was, quote unquote cheating, we weren't even officially dating. Like once we was officially like, that's my girlfriend, I was good. I really wasn't
And
all
then
shit
is
for
that
real.
considered cheating? Is that considered cheating
Well,
if you guys are
the
not
only the
officially
yes
together?
and no. I think
Okay.
I say yes and no only because if your expectation is we the only people that's dealing with each other in this time, even if it's not, oh, excuse me, that's my girlfriend, but you had that talk, that's still a breach of an agreement that you made. It might not necessarily be a relationship agreement, but at least an agreement to not, be messing with other people
Okay.
physically if you are, and I know that we was on that type time. So in terms
Hmm.
of that, yes, I was on bullshit. But in terms of did I cheat on somebody that I officially said that's my girlfriend? No. And it never was that. Like, and so post 30, I really didn't cheat in terms of in terms of the technical sense of like, oh, I'm in a relationship and I'm talking to some other
Doing
person.
XYZ. Hmm.
Like, nah. Now that in my 20s, absolutely was doing the most, living, learning, making mistakes, all that type of stuff, and then of course I got my, karma from all that fuckery too. Cause when I
Because that
finally
karma
met
gonna come around.
somebody that I was super serious about and I wanted to be faithful to and all of that, they was doing shit like I was, but sloppy. I'm like, you a girl, you should be much more smoother at this
They
than me. But
they
I
pulled a
guess,
you on you. And
yeah.
let me just say, because obviously I'm nobody's hypocrite. We're gonna get into my foolishness as well. But when a woman is moving, she's doing what she's doing and she doing it sloppy like that, it's one of two things. Either she just really just doing some stuff that she ain't got no business doing, or she want to get caught just to be like,
Hmm.
yeah, nigga, I did that, and I don't
Hmm.
care. Like, there are truly women who just
I think it
don't need to
was
be
like a
moving
I
how they
think it was
moving
a
and just
damn
doing it anyway.
combination of that being too young and not knowing how to, be smoother with it. Like all these different factors in that situation that I could think of. But generally,
Well,
yeah,
bless
what
that.
you said
Glad that poor
is
baby
it.
ain't know me, because the only times I got caught was when I wanted to. When I was like, no, I'm absolutely okay with this. I'm absolutely okay with the truth coming out. But I
So
have since changed my life. Okay,
I
go ahead.
so speaking of, because you're a changed woman, but
I
there was
am.
a time you was out here wilding. Like what were, I guess, in your memory, was like the top three reasons that would make you cheat on somebody if you was in a relationship?
Top reason, especially in
Mhm,
my younger days, was to get even, meaning that they had most likely cheated on me first and I was getting my lick
mhm,
back.
mhm,
Secondly, I felt like I was missing something as it pertains to like a need that wasn't being fulfilled by that
mhm,
person. And then I would say maybe the third thing, I was checked. I was pretty much already out the door, and so another situation had presented itself, and I was like, I'm gonna leave this nigga anyway, so I can go whatever.
right.
So I used to be very vindictive. So if I was in a relationship with somebody and they did me dirty or did me wrong, then I would get my lick back. And when I got my lick back, it was bad. Like you felt it, like, and then I like stun it on you in a way. Like it was not like you was this dirty bitch. Like it was that for sure. Um yes, not proud of it, but it is what it is, and it's part of me being who I am, because I'm so not vindictive anymore. Because again, when you talk about karma, it's like, yeah, if people do you wrong, then they karma gonna come back on them. But then if you retaliate and try to create your own karma, now you just created something bad coming on you. So a lot of times I would get bad karma, and I'm like, wait, but I was just defending myself. No, you wasn't. You was trying to play God, and that's not what that is. So that definitely played a role for me if there was something I was not getting in the relationship, be it emotional support or you know, psychological, so like whatever the case may be, with I felt like I was lacking or missing something in a relationship, it was never for money. I'm not that person. But although I a lot of times when I cheated, I cheated up. I cheated up 93% of the time. So
Yeah, I definitely was more in that lane if I was gonna be, because when I'm about to just step out on some girl I didn't choke. Because this is the thing, I don't be liking people. That's another reason why the cheating wasn't really happening as much the older I got, because it was like it took me so long to meet you,
and like
somebody
you.
that I like. So I'm really mindful of like, no, I'm fucking with this person. I don't want to fuck it up because it take a long time for me to meet people that I really, really like and think are somebody that I could spend my life with,
Mhm.
or spend a significant amount of time with at the least. So,
Yes. And so, you know, as I got older and more mature, because all of it was immaturity, if I'm gonna be honest, I really, you know, came to know and understand that cheating is a choice. Like, yeah, we can say we can give reasons for why we do it. And at the end of the day, is the reasons don't necessarily have to be invalid per se. But at the end of the day, you still have a choice. Like there's people who are with the worst person ever and they will never cheat. And then there's people who get the best thing since sliced bread and can't stop cheating. Like it
mhm.
is a choice, and there's nothing that, and that's why I asked you some of the questions I asked you, because there's nothing that you can do, say, be, give, whatever, that will make someone be faithful. Because believe me, I tried to do all of the things to not get cheated on, and then it would still happen. And then I'll be like, well, now I got to go cheat. You see what you did. Now
That's
I
you.
gotta.
That's you. That's your fault.
In which again, maturing is understanding, no, you don't have to cheat. You
No,
can just leave.
you can't just leave. That's actually the better course of action, is to just dip and get with yourself first. That's, I think,
Yeah.
the probably for me, the clarity that I've had over the years is just spending a lot of time alone and reflecting on things, and you know coming to conclusions that a lot of the things that I don't like going on in my life is because of me. Because at the end of the day, we are the directors of our own movie. Every single one of us is a Spike Lee of our own shit. It is a Creed joint, Coach Tamara joint, whatever your name is joint. And when we don't get the movie that we want, we are the ones who are the problem, because we the
Hmm.
director, so if this needs to be a change of scenery, because I know I was so tired of snow and slush and goofy people doing the goofiest stuff you could think of,
And unnecessary
uh,
parking tickets and
all of that. And I was like, let's get a change of scenery now. Is my change of scenery perfect? No, but it's not where I was before. And I'm glad, because it's more in tune with what's going to work for me.
and it has contributed greatly to your matriculation over the years,
Oh
for
yeah, you
sure.
got to go through some shit, and moving away from home, some type of way, you're going to go through some type of spiritual
Oh
awakening,
my God.
something, because you
Yes.
need to get away from where you familiar with, so you could kind of have some of those challenges. Because when I was going through the aftermath of everything that went on to make my last relationship end, that was a defining moment for me, because I had to pivot and make a lot of things happen in a space where I wasn't even familiar, and the shit still worked out, but it made me a stronger person, and that's what you need.
Absolutely.
I know you've had
Absolutely.
some Houston trials and
snafus.
tribulations.
I've had some Houston snafus, my damn self. And also, and like all of it has contributed to me becoming the person that I am. But it's also like I refuse. Like I'm not giving anybody any inkling that I'm willing to be on some BS and shit. Especially I'm married now, so I'm definitely not about to be trying to cheat on my I stood before God and took vows for him. So that's not happening. But even when before we got married, I never the thought of cheating never came to my mind because of the things that I've been through, and I used all of that to learn. I used it to say, okay, if I'm mad about something or whatever the case may be, then no, don't retaliate and try to get your lick back. Either have a conversation about it, and if it's not gonna work out with that, then it ain't for you and you can leave. If I'm missing something or if something's not being fulfilled, then I communicate that. I don't just go and cheat. And any other reasons that would come in my mind at the time to justify it. I don't do that anymore because I've learned and I've grown and all of the things, and everything that I've been through has made me everything that I am. So I will say, if anyone's wondering, is it once a cheater, always a cheater? I will say no. You
Yeah,
can
everybody
change.
deserves a second chance, and I just think when it's all about growing up. Once you realize how important it is what you have, and that's what it takes to retain it. Plus, man, anybody.
It ain't nothing
So,
out here.
so you not in the streets. I'm still out here. I would much rather not be in the streets. Like I've been trying to get out the streets for a while, but it's hard, man. It's the people don't want to compromise. People don't understand what relationships actually take. So if one little thing happen and people want to say fuck the whole thing, and I'm guilty. I think as millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, all of us, like we've been in a society that makes us make these snap decisions. Yeah, so on that note, I'm just going do a part two for this subject because I feel like this is, something we could revisit
Oh, absolutely.
probably more. I feel like we should just do a trilogy. Maybe by the last one, I'll really divulge some shit because we
Yeah,
was
yeah.
giving you surface level and gotta ease you into the fuckery.
And oh, there was fuckery.
But that was Culture Foolishness episode 2. And we will be back next week. I am Creed of Exit Studios, architectsmars.com, and my co-host Eon.
Coach Tamara Simone, your favorite life coach's favorite life coach.
Peace, peace.